What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so we are actually going to continue our coverage over the current X-Men series, where we actually pick up with X-Men number 7. Now, when it comes to this book right here, it's really going to be used as a way to kind of show us the transition for Cyclops into becoming Captain Krakoa. Because remember, in our last video, Cyclops to the rest of the world right now is dead. But in reality, he's still alive. He's just right now pretending to be someone else known as Captain Krakoa. And the reason why, because Ben Urich, this great reporter, is so close to revealing to the rest of the world that the mutant race actually has a way to bring someone back to life from the dead. And of course, that right there is huge because they're not sharing this method with the rest of the world. And so, of course, the rest of the world does not know about it. And the question is right now, how will the rest of the world react when they find out about this new method the mutant race actually has? Either way, in this video, we're going to learn why Cyclops, not why, but how Cyclops became Captain Krakoa. And so to get into today's storyline, we actually pick up in the past. Now, we're not told how far back in the past we go, but we actually do pick up right now with Dr. Stasis. Now, we have no idea who Dr. Stasis actually is. The only thing we do know about Dr. Stasis at the moment right now is that apparently he has been helping Ben Urich prove to the world that right now the mutant race has a way to bring someone back to life. But on top of that, he hates the mutant race. Now, right now in his base in New Jersey that's underground, we do see him right now talking to these creatures that he had created. Now, when it comes to these creatures, at first, it seems to be a very peaceful meeting until they're able to actually drink some kind of drink that he had made. But the drink he made for them actually makes them crazy into wild beasts to go out in the world to hunt. Now, of course, the reason why he's doing that because he's hoping that the X-Men will actually appear. And if the X-Men do appear, he's hoping that one of the X-Men will die so that it'll be more proof that the X-Men actually have a way to bring someone back to life. And so that is the moment where we actually do jump to the aftermath. And that's what they call this section. Now, we have no idea what the aftermath to, but we actually do pick up right now with Cyclops coming back to life. Now, this is actually very huge because we saw in our last video, Cyclops died. But again, we had no idea how he died. But of course, with this section, we still have no idea that he died, but we do get confirmation that he did die at some point. Now, with that being said, he is brought back to life thanks to the Five. Now remember, when it comes to the Five, they're able to make you a new clone body. And once your new clone body is made, Charles Xavier or another psychic is able to download your memories into the mind of Cyclops. And in this case, it's Emma Frost who's right now downloading his memories into his new clone body. Now, once she does that, of course, she realized there is a problem, some kind of problem that could actually affect their nation once she was able to read the mind of Cyclops. And of course, we know it has to be Ben Urich because Cyclops has not told anyone else about what Ben Urich is trying to do at the moment. And so right now, it seems that Emma Frost was able to learn what is happening right now with Ben Urich. And of course, Cyclops feels like a failure because if that story gets out, it's all on him. Now, that is the moment where we do jump back in time. Now, when we actually do jump back in time, we do pick up with those creatures once again that were made by Dr. Stasis. And right now, we do see those creatures right now just attacking a bunch of innocent people in the city. Now, of course, you do have the X-Men actually arrive. Now, when the X-Men do arrive, we do realize that half the X-Men right now are not here. Apparently, they're busy with something else. But either way, when it comes to this section, it's honestly all about Cyclops. And what I mean by that is, you have the book say that when it comes to the X-Men, the first person you think about is Cyclops. Now, in reality, that's not true. Usually it's Wolverine, Storm, Nightcrawler, Mystique, Trust me, guys, Cyclops is not one of the first few X-Men you think about when it comes to the X-Men. Now, I'm not saying he's a bad character. I'm just saying that there's more popular characters that kind of overshine him. Either way, the book is saying that when it comes to the X-Men, it's Cyclops. Like, he is the X-Men because he was the first X-Men. And so when it comes to this battle, he's able to actually make sure this battle goes in their favor. Now, while the battle is going on, we do get something else very more interesting happen, and that is Sync. Now, remember, when it comes to Sync, he has the ability to copy other mutant abilities. Actually, he's able to copy anybody else's powers. Now, with that being said, we do see him right now use the powers of Jean Grey. Now, that's the problem right there. Not really a problem, but a great thing, because Jean Grey is not there. And so now you have Sunfire wonder, how in the world is Sync able to use the powers of Jean Grey if Jean Grey's not around? That's actually pretty cool. Now, while the battle goes on between the X-Men and these creatures, of course, Dr. Stasis is watching this battle, and of course, he hates the idea that his side is actually losing. And so, of course, he does call in his assistant to kind of help with the battle to make sure he gets the outcome that he actually wants to happen. Now, this leads into the death of Cyclops. And what I mean by that is you do have Cyclops be confronted by the assistant that works for Dr. Stasis, but the assistant was able to actually grab a baby. And of course, when it comes to Cyclops, he wants to make sure to be able to save the baby's life, which Cyclops is actually able to do. But here comes the big problem though, because right after Cyclops is able to save the baby, well, of course, he got cut by the assistant of Dr. Stasis. Now, the cut is not too deep where he could die just right then and there, but of course, if the X-Men don't give him some kind of medical help, he will die right then and there. And so, of course, he is slowly bleeding out and just waiting for the X-Men to come to his rescue. But while he is bleeding out, that is the moment he is confronted by Dr. Stasis. And this is Dr. Stasis really trying his best to prove that the mutant race actually has a way to bring someone back to life, because that is the moment he just kills off Cyclops, because he pretends to be a paramedic. He walks up, he cuts deeper into Cyclops, and Cyclops dies right then and there. And so when you have Wolverine arrive to make sure he's alive or okay, of course, Cyclops is dead. And she's kind of like, oh my God, we lost our team leader. And so that is the death of Cyclops that we saw back in the last video. And this leads us into the birth of Captain Krakoa, because we actually do pick up right now with the Quiet Council telling Forge to make the Captain Krakoa armor suit for Cyclops to wear, because Emma Frost read his mind. And once she did read his mind, she realized that Ben Urich is very close to exposing the mutant race. And of course, they need Cyclops out there in the field. And so how can you do that when, of course, he had died not too long ago? And so right now, they gave him the Captain Krakoa persona as a way to actually trick the world, but to hopefully trick Ben Urich as well. Now, with that being said, you do have Jean Grey and Cyclops have a conversation with their mind. And right now, it's Cyclops wondering who is actually behind all of this. Who is trying to prove to the world that the X-Men do have a way to bring someone back to life? But on top of that, is Cyclops saying, we're fighting two battles right now. The Quiet Council, but also our mysterious bad guy. Now, when he says the Quiet Council, it's because the Quiet Council is trying to get more control of the X-Men team, even though the X-Men team technically does not work for the Quiet Council. They still believe they have the right to kind of control them. And so it's Cyclops and Jean Grey saying right now, we're fighting two battles, our new mysterious bad guy, but also the Quiet Council. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.